The morning mist clung to the trees like a secret unwilling to be revealed. In the far reaches of the northern wilderness, where the pine needles carpet the forest floor and daylight filters in soft, uneven shafts, 3 hikers stumbled upon what they believed would be the greatest mystery of their lives. They had been following a narrow game trail, their breath steaming in the cold air, when one of them froze mid-step. There, pressed into the damp earth, was a footprint far larger than any human could make. Its edges were crisp, toes splayed, and depth so pronounced that the sheer weight of whatever had left it defied disbelief. At first, they assumed it was a prank, an elaborate hoax by some wilderness enthusiast with too much time on their hands. But the trail of prints did not match human patterns. They curved away into the dense timber, accompanied by broken branches at unusual heights. Bits of bark had been scraped away, and occasional piles of stones appeared at regular intervals along the path. These were not random acts of nature. They were arrangements ordered, deliberate enough to make the hikers think twice about their assumptions. The most chilling discovery came near a dry creek bed. A cluster of large sticks had been driven into the soil, forming what almost resembled a rudimentary symbol. It was symmetrical, almost purposeful, as if it was meant to be seen from above. Beside it lay a single coarse tuft of hair, dark brown, nearly black, and longer than any bear fur they had encountered. The hikers exchanged silent glances. This was no prank. Someone or something was trying to communicate. Word spread quickly once the group returned to town and shared their photographs and samples. At first, local authorities humored the idea, chalking it up to folklore. After all, tales of Bigfoot had circled these woods for decades, whispered around campfires and layered into regional legend. But the physical evidence was undeniable. Wildlife experts examined the prints and confirmed they did not belong to any known species native to the area. The hair samples defied categorization, showing traits both familiar and alien under microscopic analysis. And then came the realization that changed everything. What if the creature was not lurking in these woods in secrecy, but stranded? What if, rather than being a phantom of myth, it was an intelligent living being in distress searching for help the only way it knew how? That thought reframed the conversation entirely. The footprints were no longer interpreted as signs of avoidance or elusiveness, but as markers, a trail meant to be followed. The stone piles could be directional cues, and the creekbed symbol might have been a flag of desperation. Suddenly, the wilderness was not merely a backdrop for human adventure, but a stage for interspecies empathy. Volunteers organized search teams, not in pursuit of capturing the creature, but to aid it should it need food, shelter, or safe passage out of a region perhaps inhospitable to it. Old wilderness guides brought forth their deepest knowledge of terrain and survival, mapping possible routes the signs indicated. Aerial drones scanned the forest canopy for patterns matching the symbol near the creek, hoping it might lead them closer. Radios buzzed with updates, and the lines between skeptic and believer blurred in the shared mission. The idea that a creature long thought to be myth could be reaching across the species divide awakened something in people. Nature enthusiasts talked about responsibility not just to human life, but to all life, especially that which struggles in silence. The stranded Bigfoot became a symbol of the unseen battles taking place in remote corners of the world, where beings of all kinds might be cut off from safety or community. Every new clue was celebrated. A cluster of berries, seemingly arranged in a circle, was found atop a ridge. In another instance, tall grass had been woven into a loose braid, positioned where the sun broke through the trees in a spotlight. Whether those signals were deliberate or incidental hardly mattered. They fueled the belief that connection was possible. And something remarkable happened in the town itself. People who had never agreed on much before, hunters and conservationists, scientists and storytellers, worked side by side. Children painted posters of the footprints to hang in local shops, not as warnings, but as encouragement to keep searching. Elders recalled their own strange encounters over the years. Tales once dismissed, now taken more seriously. The wilderness, once seen as a domain separate from human life, began to feel like shared ground. Weeks passed with no direct sighting, but every expedition returned with hope. More prints appeared, seeming fresher each time. The spacing grew wider as though the creature had regained some strength. Perhaps, some speculated, it was being guided towards safer lands. Others believed that the act of searching was itself a lifeline, letting the stranded wanderer know it was not alone. In the quiet moments before dawn, The search teams would sit around their campfires and allow themselves to dream. They imagined what it might mean if one day they stood face to face with the very being that had haunted human imagination for centuries. Not as captors, not as conquerors, but as allies. They would not take trophies or shout conquest. They would offer food, shelter, and freedom. Whether the stranded Bigfoot would ever emerge was uncertain. But what was certain, and what mattered most, was how the search had changed people. It rekindled the belief that the unknown was not something to fear, but something to nurture and protect. It reminded them that even in the remotest shadows of the earth, cries for help could cross the barriers of language and species. In the end, the footprints were more than imprints in soil. They were imprints on hearts. The piles of stones, the symbols in the dirt, the woven grass, each was a thread in a tapestry connecting human compassion to the untamed wild. And in that connection lay the greatest truth of all: in helping the lost, we find ourselves. Would you like me to also create a headline series and short teaser blurbs for this story so it could be adapted into an inspirational magazine or blog feature? That would help you use it in multiple formats.